Greetings Highlanders fans and welcome to GoHighlanders.com's coverage of the 2011 UC Riverside men's tennis team. The preseason is in full swing and the season opener is quickly approaching, so we sat down with head coach York Strother to get his take on the upcoming season. Coach Strother, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You lost just one player from last year's team in John Park, and your 2011 squad is laden with many juniors and seniors. Are the players playing at the level that you expect them to?
They're not where we want them to be. They are on track to do that. I think they prepared more over the past summer than they have in the past. They had a better attitude and we had a better culture in the fall, and they're working hard. They're gelling well right now. So they're not where I would like us to be competing come conference tournament, but I am pleased with the progress so far.
What is the culture of the team like this season?
We finally have a collective of people that understand that the team is more important than the individual. So when someone comes in and says, Coach, I want to be doing this, I'm going to go, and how does that fit into our team's scheme, our team's goals? And so that makes it a lot easier because we don't get into selfish conversations. You have teammates that actually see other teammates be successful rather than hoping someone loses so that they get a chance to play and that kind of stuff. So it's been refreshing. It's taken us a couple of years to get out of that, but I like where the culture is going.
Felix has returned this year after battling an injury last season. In his freshman year, he played at #1 singles and earned an All-Big West Conference nod. He had a good fall this year, so where do you see his game this spring?
Again, he's still in the developmental stage. I have been really impressed with his work ethic and how tough mentally he has had to be to come through his injuries that he's been battling for the better part of 2 years. Started off very, very soft, very weak in the fall. He didn't trust himself, didn't trust his game, and then finished the fall very strong, winning like 5 or 6 matches in a row. He came back after the Christmas break with the look of someone that wants to play #1 and be successful. He's reminding his teammates on a daily basis that that's his role because he keeps them in their place. So again, he's not where he's going to need to be come the conference tournament, but he's doing everything he can to get there as fast as he can. So I like what I'm seeing.
You have one newcomer in transfer, Griffin. What can you tell us about his game and where he will fit into the lineup?
Where he's going to fit in the lineup is ultimately going to be his decision. I tell that to all the players. Their rackets are going to decide where they play. I don't. I just make that information public. We have one philosophy for him. He's a big guy. He's like 6'4", something like that. So we go big guy, big game. And so that's where we're going with his development. He's long-term going to have a big serve. He's going to have a big forehand. Loves to go to the net. So there's a lot of offensive weaponry there. Right now, we're trying to get him comfortable in using that to the best of his ability and how to use it tactically.
Talk a little bit about your other returners and what each will bring to the court this season.
Okay. Let's go straight down the lineup. One of our top players is returning senior Kwak Doan. Kwak also had a very good fall. And so I like what I'm seeing from him. He and Felix would probably be swapping back and forth in the 1 and 2 position. Austin Andres may figure in the top 3 there somewhere. But Kwak he's actually doing a good job of being a senior, being a leader, working very hard in practice, has a really good attitude in the weight room, doesn't take any guff and stupidity from the underclassmen. And as he reminds everybody's an underclassman to him. And so he's playing well right now. There's a good chance he's going to play 1 or 2 in the first weekend. And so I like what I'm seeing there. Felix is the other half of that 1-2 tandem. And they're aware of this, until one of them establishes themselves significantly, there's a really good chance that we're going to play the #1 spot by committee. And so they'll be flipping back and forth. The other component in the top half of our lineup, as I see it right now, is returning junior Austin Andres. Austin is about where we wanted him to be at this point in time in his development. He has the mentality of a pit bull. He grinds. He's a fearless grinder and outworks a lot of his opponents from the baseline. And we've been working on his game so that he could be a little more offensive, look for more offensive situations in his matches. Been encouraging him to take more of a leadership role in the team. The team voted him as one of our co-captains, and so he's been doing a really good job of that. He too has been battling illnesses this year, and I've been very impressed with his willingness to battle through that. He doesn't come in and go, "Coach, I don't feel good, I need to take today off." In fact, he'll go out and he'll fight really hard. You don't notice anything, and then later you find out he was sick. And I mean, you have to monitor that, but that's the kind of commitment the coaches like to see. Other returners, someone that's caught my eye this year, he's literally doing everything that he can to be the best player that he can, and that's Ryan Stanbury. He probably used his summer the best of anybody. He used his fall to the best of his capability, and he was the most active person over this Christmas break. And so where Ryan's going to play in the lineup, I don't know. What his season's going to be like remains to be seen. But I was talking with him earlier this week that if he stays on this track, the one question he'll never have to ask himself is what if? What if I had done this? What if I had done that? So he may be one of those rare people that when his career is over, he'll never have to look back. And he should be proud of that because that is rare. Another senior, Sean Peterson, again, working very hard. Co-captain. And again, where he's going to play remains to be seen. But again, he's working very hard and doing the things that the program's asking of him. The wild card, and I'd really like to say he's not a wild card, but that's going to be up to him, is Michael Conroy. All kinds of talent, not quite realized yet. And so I keep finding different ways to try to encourage him to become what I think he wants to be. If that happens, he could go very high in the lineup because he has the skills and the tools to give Quatdon and Felix Mattress a run for their money. Right now he's just having to kind of get his game more in shape. And I believe, let's see, another person, Rainier Matias, took a year off from us. And so he's back. In the past, Ray played like number 4 for us. I don't know exactly where he's going to play at this moment. Just trying to get his competitive legs back. He had a pretty good match in the fall against a guy from UCLA where he won the first set and was up big in the second set, and then all of a sudden it dawned on him, oh my God, I could beat a Bruin, and we started tripping over ourselves and he lost in 3 sets. But he got a glimpse of what he's capable of. Now we have to help him find ways to sustain that level of play. And then I believe the last one is Simon Peters. He's a returner from last year. Last year, Simon wasn't really a factor. He was just trying to understand what playing at the Division I level was all about. A little bit more prepared this fall, even more prepared right now than he was last fall. I think he used his Christmas holidays possibly to the best of his ability. And he had a very good practice yesterday, and I let him know that so that hopefully he starts expecting more from himself, and thus the team can. It's an upper class laden team. I don't know that I'd go so far as to say it's an overly experienced team because they really don't have that much match play. That's the downside. They don't really know what they're capable of. The good side is they don't really know what they're capable of, and so it's my job to help them define that.
Nevada is the opponent in the season opener on Friday, January 14th. You play 2 Pac-10 teams in Arizona and Oregon, and will face other ranked opponents throughout the season. What would you say is your philosophy in terms of scheduling your non-conference opponents?
All right, I believe in playing the toughest teams we can play. Sometimes you'll see programs that rack up these incredibly impressive records. They might be 15-5 or something like that, and they'll have somewhat watered down records, and they watered down schedules. They have learned to win at a certain intensity level, but then if you get to the NCAA tournament or your conference championships or something like that, and you start playing teams that are significantly stronger, even if you've learned to trust yourself and you've learned to win, does not mean that you can step up to that higher intensity level. And so I like to spend about 1/3 of my schedule exposing teams to that. So that if we play, a 20 to 21 match schedule, I like to play 6 or 7 ranked teams, or teams that are high in their regions, NCAA caliber type teams, so that when we play teams that are not quite of that caliber, we should not be intimidated by however many matches they've won, because we've already been, as I refer to, the dark side of the moon. We've seen bigger, we've seen stronger. So I like to spend about 1/3 of our schedule exposing the teams to that. I also try to expose them to different styles of play. I mean, example would be Nevada's probably going to be a predominantly foreign team, and that represents a slightly different style of play than if you're playing a team that's strictly from California, and they need to see all those different game styles so that when you get into your conference tournament, they're not going to be caught by surprise just because they haven't seen a certain style of play.
How does the Big West look this season, and where do you see the Highlanders fitting into that mix?
Big West is going to be tough. My guess would have to be, I mean, Irvine won the tournament last year, and they're better this year than they were last year. They got a transfer from North Carolina that just moved their whole team down, and he's an All-American. So I mean, they went from good to very good. I think that if they're talking in their locker rooms, they're talking about repeating. I think there are 2 coaches and 2 programs that are very serious about changing that, and I would say that would probably be Pacific and perennial power UC Santa Barbara. We've seen both their teams in the fall, and the first 3 players at Pacific are righteous. They are very, very good. So, I mean, they're going to be just as good as anybody in the conference. At those 3 spots, my guess would be, what are they going to do at the 4, 5, 6, and how do their doubles play out? Santa Barbara may not be quite as flashy at the top as those other 2 teams, but they tend to not fall off as much as some other programs, and so I mean, with each spot down the ladder they go, they tend to get stronger and stronger, and Marty coaches them very well. So I would say my gut hunch would be those would be the 3 teams that would be battling out for the top 3 seeds in the tournament. But at the same point in time, SLO is a very good team. So I mean, they could beat anybody at any given time. And then from what we just found out, in 2012, Hawaii comes in, and they'll go to the top of the lineup. So the conference is solid, and it's getting better on a weekly basis. Quite candidly, where we're going to finish, I don't know. And I don't even talk that way with my team. I mean, we've got to take care of what we can do. And our goal is, quite honestly, I've put a goal in front of them that's more difficult than finishing in a certain spot in the conference, and that is being the best team we can be. And there's not a number on that, so I have to keep reminding the players that to be the best you can be, you can't have a bad day. You've got to bring in your A game, your A effort every single day, and that's a lot harder than just being better than that's a lot harder than just being better than someone else, because just being better than someone else, you don't have to necessarily be your best. And so as long as we give our best effort every single time we're out on the court, and we don't make excuses for what does or doesn't happen, and we represent ourselves in the institution to the best of our abilities, then I'll be satisfied with that. And if it turns out that we're conference champions, great. If it turns out that we're at the bottom of the conference, then I'm going to sit back and say, okay, what did go wrong? Because if we're playing to the best of our capabilities, I don't think we'll be at the bottom.
Thanks so much for your time, Coach. Good luck next Friday in the season opener and throughout the 2011 season.
Thank you for having me.
The UC Riverside men's tennis season gets underway on Friday, January 14th, as the Highlanders take on Nevada at 2 p.m. in Northridge, California. For additional information, please visit GoHighlanders.com.